Hey, blessings, grateful family. Welcome in and welcome back to the Grateful Gab Podcast. My apologies for being so late on producing this episode and getting it out there to publish it, things of that nature. Got the daily verse here, and then I'll be getting into today's lesson. Right, we're continuing our lesson on Moses and the Israelites now. Right, last week we spoke about that burning bush and how Jehovah approached Moses. Now Moses is in that phase of being used by Jehovah, right? The things that we want to be able to do, be used by Jehovah and be of his service. So daily verse for the day of November 19th, 2025, derives from the book of Romans, chapter 13, verse 1, and it states as follows. Let every person be in subjection to the superior authorities, for there is no authority except by God. The existing authorities stand placed in their relative positions by God. Amen. And again, that's from the book of Romans, chapter 13, verse 1. Today's episode is being brought to you by Sugarcane Sweet Shop. So again, right, today's lesson will be a continuation of the service to Jehovah through Moses, right? As we get to lesson, I believe it is 19, lesson 19. It is titled "The First Three Plagues." Something actually came to my mind earlier. I was talking to my spiritual father, Joe Frazier. He's an elder in our organization for a long time, 50 plus years of spiritual knowledge and wisdom through Jehovah's words. And I was like, I wonder if the same way Jehovah, gave signs of strength to these government or to this specific government, the Egyptians, that world power at the time. I want to know what type of sign. I wanted to know if he would give. I wondered. I know he didn't have this answer because it's not in the Bible. I wondered if he would give. If he would do these type of things that he had did to the Egyptians, right? To prepare to prepare Satan's rule to be done away with, just as the Egyptians' rule were done with over the Israelites, right? If Jehovah is going to send signs and do these things uh, that are going to take place before the kingdom comes. I know he had Jesus Christ in place and he performed miracles and he fed thousands and thousands and he walked on water and he resurrected individuals. Right? He showed us what the kingdom was going to be like, right? But I want to know if it was just going to be signs like it was here with the plagues. And I know the plagues were intended for those guys, those Egyptian guys, right? Each plague was, uh, directly violating, not violating because they were false gods, but Jehovah was directly going at those false gods, saying that, look, I'm way more powerful than them. They have no power close to mine. And that's what Jehovah was doing there. So Jehovah, he says the same thing about Satan. Satan doesn't have any power that's close to mine. So I know he's going to, make that be known, which he's already doing through our ministry, do servants like how Moses did and how we do now as Jehovah Witnesses. But it was just something that, you know, I thought about as I was reviewing this information earlier. So, lesson 19 from the lesson you can learn from the Bible book again today, the first three plagues, and let's get into it. The Israelites were forced to work hard as slaves. Jehovah sent Moses and Aaron to Pharaoh with this message: "Let my people go so that they can worship me in the wilderness." Pharaoh proudly replied, "I do not care what Jehovah says, and I will not let the Israelites go." Then Pharaoh forced them to work even harder. Jehovah would teach Pharaoh a lesson. Do you know how? He brought the 10 plagues on Egypt. Jehovah told Moses, "Pharaoh is not listening to me. In the morning, he will be at the Nile River. Go to him and tell him that because he has not let my people go, all the water in the Nile will turn into blood." Moses obeyed and went to Pharaoh. Pharaoh watched as Aaron hit the Nile with his stick, and the river turned into blood. The river began to stink. The fish died, and there was no fresh water to drink from the Nile. Pharaoh still refused to let the Israelites go. 7 days later, Jehovah sent Moses back to Pharaoh with this message: "If you don't send my people away, Egypt will be filled with frogs." Aaron raised his stick, and frogs began to cover the land. The people found frogs in their houses, in their beds, and in their bowels. in their bowls. Excuse me. There were frogs everywhere. Pharaoh had Moses beg Jehovah to end this plague. Pharaoh promised that he would let the Israelites go. So Jehovah stopped the plague, and the Egyptians piled up the dead frogs, heap after heap. The land began to stink, but again, Pharaoh would not let the people go. Then Jehovah told Moses, Aaron must hit the ground with his stick, and the dust will turn into gnats, or small biting flies. Immediately, there were gnats everywhere. Some of Pharaoh's own people told him, this plague comes from God. But still, Pharaoh would not let the Israelites go. So a great example for us not to follow of disobedience, right, from Pharaoh, right? This look how cocky he was at the beginning. He said, he said, Pharaoh proudly replied, I do not care what Jehovah says, right? And we see this same attitude in the world today, right? People don't care what God says. People don't care what God thinks of them, right? Because they're so consumed of the vision, the things that Satan wants them to see, the things that they feel the way that Satan wants them to feel, right? This is what the attitude they're constantly having, and we see this today. But yet again, the same way that Jehovah freed those Israelites from that wickedness, from that type of world, from that type of environment. Jehovah's going to do the same for us, but he's going to do it even better for us. Yeah, Jehovah gave them a promised land in an imperfect world. Jehovah's going to give us a promised land in a perfect world. So I'm looking forward to that. Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 21 pointed out, it says, so I will make them know at this time, I will make them know my power and my might, and they will have to know that my name is Jehovah. And that's exactly what he did. And that's what Jehovah's going to do. Right. I love how he says at this time, I will make them, right? Speaking in the future tense, I will at this time, right? Spoke about that earlier. That are you enjoying today's episode? This episode of the Grateful Gab Podcast is proudly sponsored by Sugarcane Sweet Shop. At Sugarcane Sweet Shop, every dessert is made with love, creativity, and a sprinkle of sweetness. From the signature cookies and cupcakes to custom cakes for every occasion, Sugarcane is available to make your moments a little more special. Follow them on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook at Sugarcane Sweet Shop to see what's fresh from the oven. And don't forget to treat yourself today. Jehovah's time won't be late. Jehovah's time will be perfect. And Jehovah's going to deliver us from this wicked world at a perfect time. And he's going to show them. He's going to show the wicked ones. He's going to show Satan. He's going to show those demons that they would know his power. And they would know that Jehovah God is the Almighty God who stands above everything else. So just something for us to be able to really think about, right? Again, think about and focus on why Jehovah brought those plagues upon those Egyptians, right? Not only for the disobedience from Pharaoh, but they served false gods, right? He wanted to show them that your gods don't have power like I do, right? And even when the Egyptians, when they summoned their magicians and all these the conjurers and all these type of things, when they summoned those individuals, yes, they could repeat some of these things that happened, but they could not stop them, right? They couldn't do it to the magnitude of what Jehovah could do, right? Those type of things. So for this information to be found, again, jw.org or the JW Library, you type in lessons you can learn from the Bible on jw.org, and this information will pop up. The full 100 plus lessons in this application. It's publication, excuse me. And then also on the JW Library app, go to the library section, scroll down until you find the lessons you can learn from the Bible book, and you'll have so much information at the palm of your hands. To read these accounts in the scriptures, check out the book of Exodus, chapter 5, 1 through 18. That's a full chapter. Chapter 7, chapter 7, verse 8 through 8, and then also the book of Nehemiah, chapter 9, verse 9 and 10. So it's been a wonderful lesson. Looking forward to going over these other plagues and just looking to see how Jehovah's mighty power, almighty power, was displayed in this account, and then more accounts to come to continue to see the almighty power of Jehovah God, and how it's so easy for him to use this power, and it seems almighty powerful to us, but it's merely another day to him, another act of his power just to him, right? I can only imagine his full strength of power. So a wonderful lesson today. Really enjoyed it again, right? Let us take examples from Moses, right? Be a servant of Jehovah's, right? Let us take account of what the attitude of Pharaoh was, right? He didn't care what Jehovah says, right? And let us reject that type of attitude and those ones who have that same type of attitude today in this world, because that's what we see nowadays, right? We don't want to be like them. We want to be loyal like Moses. We want to be obedient and humble like Moses, so that we can be used by Jehovah for His service, for His will. And we know His will is the perfect thing to be done, and the perfect way to be able to live and be seen by as a servant of Jehovah. So love y'all. Take care of yourselves. And until next time, peace.